Hewitt in Fort Worth, Texas, day 2 of the American Legislative Exchange Council winter meetings on policy. And we've talked about a lot of policy. We'll cover it today. I just want to remind everyone, Ohio State beat Michigan 27-9. Just want to make sure everyone in Texas hears that, because they talk a lot about football down here, but they don't play games like that. I'm starting off today with our Texas State Senator Phil King, because Senator King agreed to explain to us why redistricting is ensnarled in the courts here, given that California did a jam down. What's going on, Senator? Welcome. Good to see you. First, tell people which district you represent here.
Well, it's Texas State District 10. It really starts right here in Fort Worth and goes west out into West Texas, about 8 counties, represent about 1 million people, everything from a county of 4,000 to 2 million.
Well, I got to tell you, off the record, just because I don't want to offend anyone. It's on the radio, no one will know.
Yeah.
The Fort Worth Club is my favorite club in the United States.
It's
I
good.
think it is a fabulous place. Is Landman any around here?
So actually, Taylor Sheridan lives in the district, and everywhere you go, you see Landman film. They took over one of my favorite barbecue spots the other day. So
he's in your district? He's a constituent?
Yeah, he does.
Well, that is very good. That's going to bring a lot of good stuff to your district. Now, let's get to the tough stuff.
Okay.
Hey, why did they name you the guy to come and explain redistricting to me?
Well, I chaired the redistricting committee in the Senate this year when we did congressional redistricting.
Did we screw the Democrats as heartily as we could? And by the way, I'm all for that. It's perfectly constitutional if you don't use race.
That's exactly correct. You can draw those boundaries however you want to draw them, as long as you do it for political purposes. Our objective was to try to create 5 new Republican congressional seats in Texas. We have 38 seats. We have 25 right now that are Republican. We wanted to add 5. We think we've accomplished that. It's mangled in the courts a little bit, but we think now that it is at the Supreme Court, we think we're in good shape.
Is it up to the Texas Supreme Court now?
No. It was all federal. We had a 2-week trial in El Paso, not always the friendliest venue, but we had a 2-week trial before a 3-judge federal panel.
Oh, that's right.
2 of the judges ruled.
Blistering dissent from Jerry Smith.
It was amazing. If that was one that lawyers read with popcorn.
I'd like to meet him. I've never met him, but I would like to meet him.
He's a Reagan appointee. He's been doing redistricting for 30-something years. He wrote a dissent. That dissent went up to the Supreme Court. We appealed the next day. Just a few days after his dissent, Justice Alito issued a stay.
Oh, so the maps are still in place for the time being.
And we're already filing for office. Our filing ends December the 8th. And for right now, those maps are what we'll have in our primaries in March.
Have you seen Judge Smith since Judge Alito issued the stay?
No, but he's on my Christmas card list now.
I'll bet you if we just go out and find whoever's smiling the biggest, we got Judge Smith out there.
Oh, yeah.
What was the reasoning? It was a Trump appointee who wrote it, wasn't it?
It was.
What was their reasoning?
Well, we were all very surprised. Judge Brown was a great justice on the Texas Supreme Court. We were shocked at the angle he took.
Did you run over his dog?
Well, all I can say is that the reasoning was very flawed. Justice Smith, who's a Fifth Circuit justice, who wrote the dissent, said that in his 34 years of sitting on hundreds of 3-judge federal panels, it was the worst case of judicial activism he had ever seen.
Well, a lot of people said he was too hot in his dissent, but I think they toyed with the timing, and I do not think they gave him a chance to put in a dissent so that it could go to the Supremes with a well-argued. So for what he could not do in terms of scholarship, he made up for in volume.
Well, and he even said that. He said, this is not my normal scholarly type of dissent, type of report, but they cut me out of the process, which judges do not do. They cut him out of the process. He got the information late. He had to get it out quickly. You usually put it out with the majority's opinion. He did it a couple days later because he didn't have the information, apparently. And so it wasn't super refined, but it was super important.
Now, the Democrats are on drugs, and they think that last night losing by 8 in a district that Trump won by 22 means something for next year. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad we won. If we didn't, I would have been really, really worried. I think we're in good shape. I think we've got to make sure we just communicate what we're trying to do. Republicans, we're just not good at doing that sometimes, and Democrats are better at messaging. but I think we've got everything going for us. Our reason for wanting these 5 new seats is we know that if the Democrats, if the left control Congress during Trump's last 2 years, we will have nothing but impeachments and inquiries and charges instead of his agenda continuing to advance forward. And
everything will stop.
Everything will stop.
And we got to win the Senate too, or there will not be one judicial appointment. I mean, they'll do the full Chuck Schumer shutdown. We won't get one judge anywhere, no matter how many blue slips come in. Nothing. Now, in terms of the 5 new districts, how close to the margin did you come? Did you give yourselves R3s, R4s, R5s?
They're not.
For the listener, that means R+3, meaning the Republicans have 3 percentage point over D's, et cetera.
So they're not lay down districts. They're going to have to campaign. I think the president's going to have to come in and help. But they're close to 60% districts in every case. And I think we've got a wonderful chance at Republicans winning those.
Well, our definitions of lay down districts are different. So if you're close to 10% in each case, that's 5 new seats.
Well, they're seats that are held by Democrats. They're seats that are based on the last election, not the last 5 or 6 elections, which we like to trend those out. But if you look at Trump's performance and Cruz and some others in the last cycle, these should be Republican wins. But we're going to have to work at it, and we have to earn the win.
Make my day. Is Jasmine Crockett out?
Well, we'll see. I mean, just for the entertainment value, I'd like to see her run.
Well, that's true. I mean, she does provide a lot of good ads.
But I served with her in the House.
Did you?
I did, yeah. When I was in the House.
Was she crazy then?
Well, about the same.
About the same.
About the same. So we were glad to see her advance. We think going to Congress from the Texas legislature is actually a step down.
Well,
but she moved on. And, I mean, in all honesty, she and our Mark Vesey will run for that seat. I don't know. If she doesn't and she runs for the U.S. Senate, we'll see what happens.
Is recruitment good? Candidate recruitment for the new districts?
Oh, yes. It's, I think, done.
Okay. Last comment for you. Got to do a couple of spots here. Lieutenant Governor Patrick. I have never heard him speak before until last night. Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know. He's a Baptist married to a Catholic. He got it covered. He can speak both languages.
He is driving the Texas agenda. He's an outstanding leader, and he's a very, very fine man.
Oh, and he can talk.
He can.
Oh my goodness, he can talk. Now, does he ever show up on the floor of the Senate? Does he do that? Does he?
Oh, he's there constantly. I've never worked with someone in leadership who is so engaged.
And that's all he wants to do. He
That's
just
it.
wants to run the Texas legislature.
That's it.
Well, God bless him. We got to get him here next year and put him on when next time we're here. Senator Phil King, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
I have to do a couple of things every day on the Hugh Hewitt Show. I brought my relief factor, and so I got to find it. Dwayne usually forgets it. Nope, I got it. It's right here. I take it every day because they're a great sponsor of the program, and I've been going up and down stairs. And if you can see, Senator King, what do you make of our set?
Well, it's comfortable, casual, and I'm just glad.
Casual.
I'm just glad you're at Alec.
Casual.
Yeah.
What do you make of these trees?
Well, they're trees.
This producer right here
Yeah.
came up with this and said this is a Christmas thing.
They're Christmassy.
This is
Yeah.
my relief factor. If you're watching on the Salem News Channel, like carry and curcumin, resveratrol, and omega, the only thing I've taken in more than 20 years, the only thing I
Do they
take
work
every
on
single day.
migraines?
What's that?
Do they work on migraines?
They won't help you, but they're not going to help your aesthetic sense of set design either. If you want Relief Factor, call 1-800, the number 4, and the word relief, 1-800-4-RELIEF, or go over to their website, relieffactor.com. Find the starter pack, $19.95. Relief Factor really does work. It's been keeping me going through a week of the grandkids were here. I've got a state senator from Ohio coming up later who has 40 grandchildren, which I cannot believe because 7 left me crippled after Thanksgiving, so I'm going to talk with him a little bit later in the show. But in the meantime, relieffactor.com for you. And please remember, it's the giving season. We are partnered up with Prison Fellowship to make Angel Tree alive for every child who has mom or dad in prison. Sometimes both parents are incarcerated. And a $30 contribution over at hughhewitt.com will get a child put onto their list. They'll match up a child and a volunteer. They'll go out and get a gift. They'll find that gift that the kid wants. They'll talk to mom and dad in the prison. They'll get a handwritten note for Christmas morning. They'll deliver it along with the Bible, and most important of all, a connection to Angel Tree. So that child will have someone in the community who knows that they're in a difficult situation, will end their life with the gospel, and you can do that for $30. Angel Tree does this every year on our program, and every year thousands of you step up, and that's great. The bad side is they count on it, which means there'll be a lot of kids who don't get presents unless you do it again. So if you did it last year and you did $30, maybe you do $60 this year. Maybe you do $100. My favorite guy, whoever served in the United States Senate, James Inhofe, called up one time, said, I'm going to do 10 kids, but I want to meet them. Did you do 10 or did you do 50? 5. He did, when it was $100. He did 5 kids. He said, but I want to meet them, which we made happen. Senator Inhofe has gone to heaven. Maybe someone out there will step up and take his place. Come right back. We got a full day of legislators who may not be as smart as Phil King, but he did not bring up football, so that was smart. In Fort Worth at the ALEC conference, alec.org/you, if you want the weekly newsletter on states. We had a banquet last night, which was to die for. First of all, former Prime Minister Liz Truss was there. That was kind of fun. There were a bunch of Michigan people from there, and I just ignored them. However, the Texas folks were great fun, and the North Carolina folks actually talked shop. And I've got North Carolina's President Pro Tem, Phil Berger, who won the Legislator of the Year award. There were a few of them. He's with us now. What did you do in your mind to win that award? Because there are 1,800 people here.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
I
big
think
deal.
my understanding is it's more for the year's work that we have done in North Carolina to really change the state, to turn it into a state that is the best state in the nation for business, to turn it into a state that is growing faster than just 2 other states in the nation, and a place that really is on everybody's list as the place to go.
Well, my brother Bill is retired to Asheville. And my in-laws, Russ and Aaron, live in Winston-Salem, and they all say, and I go to Wrightsville Beach for vacation, they all say it's the greatest place to live in the country.
There's no question about that.
Oh, well, here's the question. Is Michael Whatley going to be your senator? Because if he isn't, it's not the best place in the world to live.
Yeah, well, Michael should do well. The federal elections in North Carolina tend to tilt for the Republicans. Democrats haven't won a Senate race there since 2008, and the only reason they won it that year was because of the Obama aberration. And so I'm
But Roy
confident.
Moore is formidable, is he not?
He is, and he'll have all sorts of money, but the difference is he's going to be running against somebody that also will have a good bit of money, and it is a federal election where you're trying to decide what team you want somebody to be on, not whether or not it's somebody you like and want to see manage or at least mismanage the state government.
Now, I would like you to explain to Californians especially. I'm on all over the country, but I'm on in every major market in California live right now. And I left that state 10 years ago because the marginal tax rate got to 13%. I believe it's at 14.5 now. What are the taxes in North Carolina right now?
Right now, individual income taxes next year will be 3.99.
Okay, California, you just hear 10% pay cut when you move to North Carolina. What next?
Corporate taxes, 2%.
I don't know what those are in California.
Yeah, and actually we are slated to actually eliminate the corporate income tax in North Carolina in 2030. It's in statute. And we also have in statute a continued step down of the individual rate from the current rate to, as I said, 3.99 next year. We hit revenue targets. It'll step down to 3.49, then step down to 2.99, then step down to 2.49.
Are your schools woke?
No. Some in some of the metropolitan areas that are controlled by Democratic or Democrats tend to move in the woke direction, but we are working to squeeze that out.
2 final California do you spend tens of billions of dollars on trains that do not get built, and if they did, go to nowhere?
We do not.
All right, that number one. Number two, you allow most of the state to burn down on a regular basis.
No, we do not.
Okay, so I'm just curious. California, you could go to North Carolina. Is it expensive to buy a house in North Carolina?
It is not as expensive as it is in other places, and it is a place where we have thousands of people moving into North Carolina on a daily basis, and they are finding housing, and they are finding it to be affordable.
Now, are the politics changing? I had a good buddy, General Mel, if you're listening, I'm talking about you, retired from the Marine Corps, Major General. I think every retired military person in the United States moves to North Carolina. Am I wrong?
Many of them do. We do not tax military retirement at the state level.
Zero?
No income tax on military retirement.
Do you have that
Veterans
on,
come to North
billboards?
Carolina.
Do you put that on TV?
We let people know about it, yes.
I did not know about that. I'm in the business. That's remarkable. No wonder people move there. What's the property tax situation like?
Property taxes could be lower. we need to do something there. That's one of the things that we need to
Well,
work
you know,
on.
John Williams, despite the fact that he comes from Michigan, did provide me with one talking point, which is that you went from number 26 in the state, rich states, poor states, to number 2. To what do you attribute that? Mostly to tax reform?
Tax reform, regulatory reform. We've every year had a regulatory reform measure. We routinely have our members go out across the state, hear from businesses, hear from individuals, hear from local governments about some of the regulatory overreach that is hitting them from the state level, and we put together a regulatory reform bill on an annual basis.
You know, my high school prom date, and I haven't forgiven her because she made me wear a yellow tux in 1974, so that explains that. She lives in Hog Hollow, that's what I call it, and she was hit hard by that storm. How is the western part of the state doing?
Yeah, it's going to take a while for them to recover. We have in place plans to deal with the infrastructure issues. I mean, I-40, it's going to take a couple of years to get that rebuilt.
How big of a storm was this? I mean, was it a 200-year event, 500-year event?
It was at least a 200-year event in North Carolina. And because of the topography in western North Carolina, you had some valleys that were totally decimated. You go over the next set of hills, and they just had a heavy rain. But the damage was substantial and is in the process of being dealt with.
Were the horror stories about FEMA true? Were they skipping Trump houses?
I can't say that from any personal experience, but I have heard the stories.
I've heard the stories too. I maybe had a constituent or someone like that. So let me close. In 10 years, I mean, when the census gets done and they reallocate House seats, do you pick up House seats?
We should. We are now the 9th most populous state. If we continue on the trajectory we're on, in the next census, we'll be at least the 8th most populous, maybe the 7th most populous. We're poised to take over, leapfrog Georgia and maybe Ohio.
Don't leapfrog Ohio, Senator. Okay, so who draws your lines?
The legislature.
Okay, so you do not have one of those bogus commissions?
No, and the governor has no veto over redistricting.
And did you do a good job with your maps? Are you doing it mid-district, or are they too good already?
We redrew the congressional maps, just within the last month and a half. It's already been to the courts. The courts rejected the Democrats' request for an injunction.
And what do the experts speculate the impact of those new maps?
The speculation is that there's one additional Republican seat. We have 14. We have 14 altogether. Currently, it's 11-3. No, I'm sorry. It's 10-4, and it should go 11-3.
You couldn't wipe them out?
We have pockets. The good news is that Democrats tend to congregate together.
Yeah.
And so we have
isolate them. Yeah. And you just can't use race. I know you don't use race. In terms of the court in North Carolina, since it's up to the North Carolina courts often to draw these things, who appoints the justices?
Justices are elected on a partisan ballot.
Oh, so is it a Republican court?
5-2.
Okay. See, you got 60 seconds. How do you have Roy Moore win?
Yeah, Cooper.
Roy Cooper. I mean.
North Carolina on a statewide basis is, I call it a default Republican state. It's just by a little bit. And a Democrat can win if they are a good candidate, if they can mask what they truly believe as far as philosophy is concerned, and if they have 10 times as much money as a Republican. And that's
Phil
what
Berger,
happens.
let's raise you some money and make sure the state stays red. Thank you for joining me. Congratulations on the award. It's obviously well earned, and I appreciate talking to you today. I'm very happy to welcome ALEC board member, Iowa Speaker Pro Tem John Wills, because he is the chair of a new task force, the Veterans and Military Affairs Task Force at ALEC. And Speaker Pro Tem Wills, I just learned that North Carolina does not tax the income of veterans. Does Iowa tax the income of veterans?
Iowa does not tax the income of veterans or retirees, period.
I think that's fabulous. How many states do that?
Well, I couldn't answer that. I don't think that very many.
I think you need to make that a 50-state goal.
Exactly.
I'm a civilian, by the way. We should pick up the slack for what you guys did. You're an Army guy. Sadly, you're not Navy. Where did you serve, and when did you serve?
Oh boy, I served 2 12-year periods over my career, 25 years total. Served a lot of
national. You enlisted at 12? You don't look old.
I enlisted when I was 17. I'm 60 now, or I'll be 60 in a few months. Yeah, 17 when I was just a pup, and enlisted in the National Guard and served for about 12 years. I said, I'm done with this. And then 9/11 happened, and I'm like, I gotta do something, and I got back in.
Senator Ernst is a good friend of the program. We love Senator Ernst, and the National Guard in Iowa goes everywhere. It seems like you always get deployed.
Yeah.
They don't forget Iowa.
No.
Ashley Hinson going to win that seat?
Boy, I sure think so. I hope so. She's really working hard, and she's all over the state. I served with her in the Iowa legislature. She's a good, solid conservative, and she will serve Iowa well.
So what is the new chair on military affairs and veterans going to do for Alec? What else besides taxes?
This is really something that we've been working at for about 4 years ago. 4 years, I went to CEO Lisa Nelson about 4 years ago and said, one thing that we're really missing here in Alec is something that deals with the Veterans Affairs, because it's a totally distinct issue. And you can try to pocket some of those things into other committees, but it's just unique enough that we really need to have a niche that we can go to. And so she agreed, and we investigated, and we did some stuff, and a few years later, here we are. We have the committee up and running, but we deal with things that are unique to veterans. Things like when veterans move from one state to the next, a lot of times their spouses who have licenses.
I lived it. My cousin is a physician's assistant who had to get relicensed when her husband was on active duty 3 times.
Exactly. So
It's stupid.
We'll deal with licensing for veterans, spouses of veterans, so that they can more easily move to another state and be immediately hired and have a livelihood.
Now, how many veterans in the Iowa legislature do you think?
Oh boy, 1% of Americans serve. In Iowa, we're a little bit higher than that. So I would say probably 10 to 15 legislators in Iowa, the Iowa legislature right now, are serving. But nationwide, it's 1% of the population. And what I found in Alec is we're higher, a higher level than even that.
I met a couple last night coming in and out talking. I can tell. Some people are wearing their Corps thing. Right. The Marines are always telling you,
right.
Marines, don't mess with me. But it's fine. I'm glad. I'm kind of surprised it didn't exist until then. And not just that, but they also need sometimes a little assistance in moving and locating when their kids go into the schools, because it's quite a shock for kids to move.
Yeah, in fact, we have model policies here at ALEC, and one of the model policies that we're going to be dealing with tomorrow is exactly that. It allows parents to enroll their children into a school when they just move there, and for that school to then more easily bring those kids into that school system and cycle them in, so that they're not missing any school, so that they're not being set back. It's just got to happen. We've got to make sure that our veterans' families are taken care of. I mean, one of the standard principles that we founded in our ALEC, Veterans and Military Affairs organization, is that we want to make sure that we're being able to sync all 50 states with the federal government, so that it is a seamless transition, because we believe it is a recruiting tool for our military to have our veterans taken care of, to have our veterans' families taken care of. So it's a requirement for recruiting, but also for retention.
Now, all the goals have been hit this year. Do you put that down to President Trump, Secretary Hegseth? We got 1 minute.
All the goals as far as recruitment. I believe returning our military back to a fighting machine and back to the standards of what the military is supposed to be about. I was an infantryman and a cavalry scout. We learned how to kill people and destroy things.
Oh yeah, scouts.
That's what you do as in the military. That's what the military should be. It's not a training ground or a decision-making thing about, how should we do more DEI in the military. It should be exactly what it's meant to be, to protect this country and kill and destroy our enemy.
John Wills, thanks for your service. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it very much. Good luck with that task force. A lot could be done with that. A lot. Please, America, don't forget as well, over at HughHewitt.com, the Angel Tree banner is at the top. Every $30 that you donate between now and Christmas means another present for another child. With yet another Alex superstar, Texas Tech University Chancellor Brandon Creighton. And you're saying, what is a chancellor doing here? He used to be the president pro tem of the Texas. He is responsible for the largest school choice program in the United States. I'm going to talk to him about that after I talk about Texas Tech. I just don't want you to. Have you heard of Julian Sand?
I have.
Okay. Have you heard of Carnell Tate?
Yes.
You know about Jeremiah Smith?
Yes.
Should you just go home?
No, I'm not going home.
Okay, just saying.
I'm
I
fully-
just do not want you to get your hopes up.
Fully
because,
committed.
Texas Tech is going to be what, 5, 6, ranked in the playoffs. Are they in the playoffs? 5, 6?
If not higher.
Oh no, I don't think they make that. Okay, it is Texas. We'll be nice to you.
Okay.
Tell me about universal school choice, because I stood up and cheered when you got it done, because it could not get done in Texas.
Yeah, every team has said that about Tech until they've been completely annihilated by them. So we'll see.
I'll get your number and I'll call you
We'll
on the
see.
day after.
We'll
Okay.
see.
You might not make it that far, but I hope you do.
I hope so too.
Notre Dame thought that last year.
It's been an incredible year. Yes, that's
congratulations.
right. Yeah,
Very
you.
nice for the junior varsity in Texas.
No kidding,
Yeah,
right?
up in the Big Ten, we play real football.
I'm telling you, right? It's incredible what the Big Ten has to offer until they don't.
All right, tell me about school choice, because we could do this all day long. I've been used to Michigan for the last week. I'm all hyped up.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, school choice. A battle in 2023. I led in debate hours on the floor of the Texas Senate in the session of 2023, mainly tied to several different iterations of school choice in the ESA passing the Senate floor. It didn't pass the House. And in 2025, we came back for another round. The bill got bigger, better, and certainly with more dollars at $1 billion price tag and investment, 100,000 kids served. It proved that 2023 was just an exercise in what eventually would be the best school choice launch in American history.
Now, the objection I always heard was at the Friday Night Lights crowd, which was, by the way, great
Sure.
television.
Sure.
That they did not want you to mess with their football team. Was that true? Was that the real deal?
You have all kinds of stakeholders approaching the Capitol with 10,000 different people a day in that building during session with their own concerns. Was that a real concern? Absolutely. We had a provision in that bill with open enrollment among public schools while we also were creating the ESA. So that ended up being a very good bargaining chip that at the end of the day was dealt away. And so
let's pause on that. Did you start out knowing that you'd play that card at the end?
I spent 19 years in the building getting my head knocked off. I knew exactly how to pass a big bill.
And that is a big bill. That,
Yeah.
as you heard me say this morning, it's the most important civil rights issue in the United States, is to get kids into the
Yes.
schools where they feel they will flourish and their life will improve and their parents will be happy with the education. But I never believe people have bad faith. They have the reasons for it. Did you persuade people, or did you just have to beat them?
I'd have to say that it was a little bit of both. I mean, you as the author of the bill, and you certainly have to go door to door and be persuasive in every category. But yes, we also had the numbers at the end of the day, and we had to work hard to get to those numbers. All statewide involved, and many stakeholders like yourself and many others, so many leaders with ALEC and with EdChoice and all these organizations that I relied on for my
Corey DeAngelo, all these people
exactly.
are out there warriors.
All of them, and it took every one of them together.
Larry Arnn likes to go down there and
Yeah.
open a school a week, I
Yeah.
think. So
I-
Hillsdale's very into it.
I really somewhat try to be as modest as I can about being the author of the bill, because there have been people working on that effort in Texas for over 30 years, as you've mentioned, many of them. And it was just what an honor to join all of them together to get it done. And with Florida starting with 16,000 students in their program a quarter of a century ago, Arizona started with 300. For Texas to start with 100,000, I'm very proud of that.
Now, I got to talk to you about your jump. Of
course.
You're going to Texas Tech.
Yes.
It is a great university. It's among America's finest universities. And with all the big tech moving to Texas, they
Yes.
need you to do your job.
Yes.
How are you going to deal with the faculty? I've been on faculty since 1995. They're crazy, right? They're way left wing. How are you going to deal with them?
Well, a case study in human behavior from being the caucus chairman for the Republicans in the House with 104 members and the caucus vice chairman in the Senate for many years with our 20 members. I'm battle tested. Do
you have tenure in Texas?
I'm used to being in a room where everyone in the room has the best idea, and it is only their solution that is going to be the one that advances. So what do you do at that point going forward? you have to come across and be genuine as a good listener, but you have to bring consensus.
I've been in that room, except everyone thinks they can persuade you if they say it 3 times.
I relate to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so, but in terms of walking into a university and you're used to actually getting stuff done,
Yeah.
universities aren't. These professors are used to being, I'm just like them. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Let me teach con law. What are you going to do to change the culture of the place? It's not woke. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
starting off woke.
Yeah, no, it's a culture at which I get, the point that you're making, and the bureaucratic side of it is, I'm going to have to get accustomed to that, but we're also going to be expecting others to speed things up. It's going to be a different environment. And so where will we meet in the middle on that? I'm not exactly sure. I'm just a few days into it, but we're going to have a consensus agreement that we have goals to set, that we're going to move at a pace to accomplish those goals, and certainly the students will be the #1 priority for a degree of value coming from Texas Tech University system will be at the top of the list in the state.
How many students do you have at the campus?
45,000 at the main campus there in Lubbock, and then over 60+ thousand total.
Okay, we have less than a minute. Do you want the federal government to get involved in NIL, or do you want Texas to solve NIL by itself?
Well, I've never been one to wait on the feds for anything. So I think that uniformity is important. I'm very supportive of revising these media acts so all athletes can benefit and participate. I think the delta on what can be negotiated from the networks and others will be plenty. But we have to make this progress because it's the Wild West. And I've carried the NIL bill in 21.
Oh, you did?
21, 23, and 25. So that was my bill in Texas.
You've been busy.
It was out of 40,000 votes and all the bills that I've passed, I introduced that bill as the only bill I've ever filed that I was against when I filed it, and I was neutral in committee when I presented it. But the plane had taken off, and we had to rope the tail end of that plane and participate or not.
Chancellor Brandon Creighton, good luck to you, except you come up against Ohio State.
Thank you. We'll be ready.
We'll be ready. I'll watch that game.
All right.
Thank you, Chancellor. Let me tell you about Webroot, one of our great sponsors, because it is the season to be stealing if you're a cyber crook. Webroot.com/Hewitt. You get 75% off, and you will protect one person with 5 devices or 10 people up to 10 devices. Webroot.com protects you against all sorts of identity theft, against fraud. It tries to keep you from going to the websites that are designed to rip you off. They give you advanced malware. They monitor the dark web. They do everything that you need done for yourself. You do not want to be a victim of identity fraud. Talk to someone who has been. We have been the victim of a hostage taking. We lost all of our data about 15 years ago, and we could never get back. They turned it over to the Bureau. They're overwhelmed. They can't do it. So we just had to rebuild the system. This time we've got perpendicular systems running at the same time. Parallel systems, not perpendicular. That Dwayne told me perpendicular. And so I'm telling you right now, webroot.com/Hewitt, 75% off. Key number 2 for sponsor number 2, andrewandtodd.com, 888-888-1172, 888-888-1172. Did I say 888-888-1172? If you listen to this program, you're going to want to move to Texas or North Carolina or one of the states that actually have a decent tax system. If you're a veteran, you're headed to North Carolina right now or to Iowa where they do not tax your income. You want to find a place that's good for you. You can find it from richstatespoorstates.com. But andrewandtodd.com will actually get you to move. So go to their website. They are a terrific lender, all right? They do it soup to nuts, soup to nuts. Union Mortgage Company. That's andrewandtodd.com, 888-888-1172. No matter what your income, no matter how much you want to spend, they will give you good advice. They will not upsell you, but they will not put you into too much house so that you're house poor. They'll make sure that you can make your payment. They'll make sure that you're in the place that you want to live. If your credit's a little bit dinged up, and whose isn't, they'll help you fix that. You'll love them. Now, I've been in a Bible study with Andrew for more than 20 years, and so you can trust me when I say he and Todd are fabulous, righteous guys. They are not going to lead you astray, but call them, 888-888-1172. Let me close this hour out with the gift that you need. You've been sitting there thinking, what do I get Dad? Probably not. Dads end up getting ties and socks. But you should be sitting there thinking, what do I get Dad? You get him a besthotgrill.com. You get him hibachi to take with him to the football game. You get him a big Solera infrared grill, which is only made by besthotgrill.com. Best grill in America, 0 to 3,000 degrees in 1 minute. Dwayne and I both have them. I've got them on both coasts. And they are made in America by our friends Rhett and Irene Rasmussen. They also have the Rasmussen fireballs, which will go inside of your fireplace if you're a smart person, you want to look sharp. But I want to go back to the grills. They got 5 size grills. You can try one before you buy one if you care to. And right now they're 25% off for 2 of the, I believe they're the smaller versions. And if you get the big one, you get a free chef-style griddle. That means pancakes and smash burgers and fajitas and everything else. But you won't learn anything and you won't be able to buy anything unless you go first to besthotgrill.com. That's besthotgrill.com. Now, if you're from the Army, I should tell you going in that Red is an Academy graduate, United States Naval Academy graduate. So just put that aside. You're going to probably crush Army coming up. But you can trust him because he is a Navy Academy graduate, Naval Academy graduate. Fort Worth, Texas, at the American Legislative Exchange Council's annual winter meeting on policy. Every policy wonk across the states, all 50 of them, gather and they talk shop, they talk ideas, they talk initiatives, they form task force. I get to talk to speakers and President Pro Tems of Senate and speakers of House, and I've got the Speaker of the Kansas House with me right now, Dan Hawkins. Speaker Hawkins, though, has lost his mind and is running for insurance commissioner in Kansas. And I got to ask you, in California, that is Russian roulette. It's crazy. Florida, it's not a great job. What's it like in Kansas to be the insurance commissioner?
Actually, in Kansas, it's probably the least political job there is. It's really a regulatory job, but I think it needs to be much more, and I plan on making it much more than what it is. Right now our insurance commissioners tend not to have any insurance experience. I've got 30 years of experience in the insurance business, so I think I'm uniquely.
Which agency were you with?
Pardon me?
Were you an independent broker or were
Yes.
you a state you're an independent guy?
Yeah, I had my own employee benefits agency.
Okay, so you know that in California, they turned down insurance request after insurance company request, and so no one was insured, not no one, but most people were not insured when the
Yes.
Palisades fire went down. That is the fault of government.
It is.
Do you feel that responsibility if people are uninsured or there are no insurance, it's the responsibility of government?
Well, I think the really my responsibility is to make sure that we have a robust market.
Yes.
And that's one of my biggest arguments with our current insurance commissioner and many of the ones before our last insurance commissioner is they didn't go out and try to bring business in. They didn't look at rules and regulations and see why insurance companies did not want to come. One of their biggest gripes, the insurance companies' gripes, is that we're hard to do business with. Well, if we're hard to do business with, why? And if we are, then we need to fix that.
Change it. How many people work in the insurance department?
100.
Okay, that's you can get your hands around that.
That's right.
Now, our buddy John Campbell, former congressman, former state legislator in California, lives in Kansas part-time now. He grows cows for part-time living.
Yeah.
Can you insure cows?
Absolutely.
And
Sure can.
How does one appraise a cow herd?
Yeah, everybody knows how much beef costs. I mean, it's a commodity.
But what if it's a breeder?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how they would.
Okay, so we got to get, is there a particular insurance company that does that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so most of your farm insurance companies like Farm Bureau, State Farm, those companies will insure cattle. They'll
It never
insure
occurred to me
livestock.
until this moment that State Farm actually had something to do with farming.
They do, absolutely.
Not from the ads that you see. Tell me about being Speaker of the Kansas House. That would seem to me to be a civil job. Is it civil?
It's civil, but it's a very high stress job. Let's put it like that.
When I read, I like Civil War history. I read about bleeding Kansas in the 1850s.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that anymore, is it?
No. Actually, I think that one of the things that I've brought to the speakership is civility. I work across the aisle all the time trying to make sure we have a good relationship. Do we agree on issues? Most of the time, no. And I say that in jest. There's really 90% of the issues that are really bipartisan and everybody will vote for it. There's that 5 to 10% that gets pretty tough.
How big is the House?
The House is 125 members.
That's a kind of a big house.
So it is. It's actually, for the size of the state, we've got 3 million people. That's a big house.
And so what's the RD split?
So it's 88 Republicans and 37 Democrats.
Now, I talked with the President of the Senate yesterday, and I want to just go over the same ground on redistricting. Yeah. Can you get redistricting done?
We can. It is possible. We got a lot of work to do, and quite frankly, there's going to have to be something change in the connection out there. People are going to, because we've got people that are against it.
Do your
We
members
do.
understand that politics is now nationalized, and that I know they might not think that way in Kansas, but if the House is one seat D,
Yeah.
it's because Kansas didn't act. Did they get it?
Believe me, I made that argument at our retreat.
Oh, you did?
I sure did.
And
I sure
did
did.
anyone say, "Oh, that's not going to happen"? Because it could very well happen.
You know, there's probably some differing opinions on why they don't want to redistrict. We're in a little bit of a special situation in Kansas. It makes it more difficult for us. We have a Democrat governor,
Right.
And our Democrat governor is pretty extreme. So we have two methods to call a special session. One for the governor to do that, and she refused.
She won't do it.
No, she won't do that. The other is for us to find 2/3 of our members on both the House and the Senate to call ourselves into special session. The Senate got it. They got 29 of 31 votes that they had to have 27, so they made it by 2 extra. I was short 10 votes of being able to get into special session.
And how many are you starting with? Republicans.
Republicans 88.
So you
So
have only
I'd say-
78 of your gals on board.
That's right. That's
now,
right.
I don't want to call anybody out because I'm Midwestern. We don't like to focus on any one identity. But other people will. Are they aware? It's a
Yeah.
national issue. It's not a Kansas issue. It's a national issue.
It's going to become more, and the awareness is increasing, and it will continue to increase. But quite frankly, there's going to have to be some folks out there that help bring that awareness.
It's coming.
Yeah.
The poor guy in Indianapolis who's getting hammered.
I know.
I don't want to talk about it, but to me, it's not something I'm used to. And I'm 69 years old. I've never seen anyone get hammered like that. And then they'll get done with him, and they'll get it done, and then they'll go looking at Kansas because every seat mattered.
And believe me, that's exactly what my message to our retreat, our caucus retreat was, is, and unfortunately, the administration or any of the associations out there that would support the administration did not engage in helping get the special session. So now, for us to do it, we're going to have to do it during our regular session starting in January.
So
And truly, there's going to have to be some serious work done between now and January to get that up.
let me know if we can help. I want to close by asking about you and Ty Masterson. He's running
Yes.
for governor. You're running for insurance commissioner. He has a primary. Do you have a primary?
I do not have one yet.
That's a nice thing
It's
to
a
have.
it's a nice
So
situation.
I was very impressed by Ty Masterson. Obviously, there are other people in the race. I don't know anything about Kansas, but when is your election?
So our primary is in August.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, so it's we have actually a late primary compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Very late.
Why don't you change that?
You know, it'd take a constitutional change to change it for certain. We'd really need to. We've got some laws in Kansas that are a little bit different that are problematic for us. Number one, most states that have early primaries can raise funds during
Yeah.
session. We can't. So we have a moratorium. Once session starts, there's no fundraising that goes on. So that takes 3 months out of the equation, so it makes it rather difficult.
Are outside groups on both sides planned to?
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
have they overspent everybody else? Because that's sort of the cloud over all of American politics. We ought to just let people give money to candidates so that we know who's got what and let them fight it out.
Absolutely, because quite frankly, you know, we have our campaign finance laws are very restrictive. We can only raise so much from each person. We're not unlimited like some states are, where you can just get as much money as you want.
What's your limit?
So on a statewide race, 4,000 is the max.
Okay, let me say unconstitutional. Anyone challenge that recently?
Actually, we changed it this last year. We were at 2,000, so we doubled it.
You know,
Kansas is a little bit funny when it comes to those things.
there is this
Really
14th Amendment that incorporates the First Amendment that says Congress, and that means state legislatures, shall make no law respecting freedom of speech. And so
Right.
you're stepping on people. But good for you
Right.
for raising it.
Yeah.
But I wish you great success, Speaker Hawkins. And I hope next time I see you, you're Insurance Commissioner Hawkins, and we'll talk about what we're going to do. I wonder if there's a group of insurance commissioners that get together across
There
the
is.
country.
It's called the NAIC, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. They get together about 5 times a year. It'll be
When you're in that, would you take the one from California? I can't move back there until they get that fixed. Would you just take them inside of a room somewhere and beat some common sense into? I mean, in a nice
You know,
way.
I can't wait to get to that point, because from what I've heard, I might be one of the more conservative ones.
Oh,
there.
you will? Oh. California can't do math. Bring along a pencil because you're going to have to explain a lot of things.
Sure.
Nice to meet you, Speaker, and I really hope you have success because I like nice people in high office. Kansas Speaker Dan Hawkins, Alex State Chair of Kansas in 2025. Hey, friends, let me tell you about our friends over at Conservatives for Lower Health Care Costs. Our friends at Conservatives for Lower Health Care Costs know that there's a battle underway in the Congress about whether or not the Obamacare tax credits ought to be extended. I am against extending them all. That was ridiculous. I am for refining to make sure that the people who make between $50,000 and $150,000 are not screwed completely. Those people were promised if you like your doctor, you can keep them. If you like your insurance plan, you can keep it. Nah, you couldn't. You were screwed. And now they're getting hit with 100%, 200%, 300% increase. Some of ththose people need tax credits, and there's a negotiation underway in Congress. What I would like you to do is go to their website, which is pharmawindfall.com. We do not want Pharma Windfall to walk away from that table with a big bag of gold. Conservatives for Lower Health Care Costs do not want the discussion about tax credits to turn into, well, let's give money to Big Pharma. No, we do not want Big Pharma to walk away with big money. We want Big Pharma to walk away with nothing. So please head to pharmawindfall.com. It's pharmawindfall.com. Conservatives for Lower Health Care Costs, great sponsor of the program. You can learn more about them at pharmawindfall.com. Jonathan Williams. Jonathan is the president and chief economist of ALEC. The good man that he is, he's still from Michigan. And last night he left the misimpression that the old days when they played without helmets in Michigan, Ohio State matter. I set the record straight at breakfast this morning for the 1,800 members at the ALEC convention that in this millennium, Ohio State has won 18 games and Michigan has won 7. John, did you take note of that?
I did. What about the last 5 years?
The I do the millennium. I only count by millenniums. So we'll keep, I think you turned the page. I've been impressed today. Your members are really smart. I did not know that you had stood up a military and veterans task force.
Yes.
That's not on my notes to talk to you about, but I think that's wicked smart. And if North Carolina isn't going to tax North Carolina veterans pay, they're going to get a lot of veterans moving there. Is that well known?
You know, it's got to be more known, right? I mean, and this is a key example of something that a legislator brought to us who's a reservist who now is in leadership. You've talked to him, Speaker Pro Tem Wills from Iowa.
Yeah.
He brought this idea to us. He said, why don't we do this at ALEC? And, you know, with Lisa and I, we like to think pretty expansively, and if we can dream it, we can build it. And we have legislative interest in something as important as veterans and military affairs. Why in the world wouldn't we do that? And so it's a great full task force. We've got over 100 state legislators involved in that task force now talking about the policies that really matter to military families and veterans.
Oh, they're going to outcompete each other because those folks do eventually retire and then they figure out where to live and they're going to go where they get the biggest bang for the buck. And I thought North Carolina always won because they had the most bases. No, they actually treat the veterans the best, and so they win. Now, Iowa treats them pretty well, too, but North Carolina might be a little bit gentler in the winter. So did you send up other new task force today?
Yeah, so 2 new task forces this year. That's the one, and the other is the Process and Procedures Task Force that we've talked about on election integrity issue. You know, you had great comments on the need for voter ID and election integrity today. So those are the 2 brand new task forces. We have 11 in total across the ALEC landscape.
Other than voter ID, what are the other ones in the procedures and process? What are the ideas floating around in that?
Well, I mean, it's things like citizen-only voting. It's things like watching foreign influence in state ballot measures.
Let's
this
talk
is a big
about
deal
that.
in Ohio and other
that
states,
That happened
right?
in Ohio. Dark money came in from abroad to try and change the laws of Ohio, and they have passed a law to forbid that now. Is that going to become a model law for other states?
I think so. We're talking about that this week. Senate President McCauley, who you've talked with, was a real leader in that effort because, I mean, it's ridiculous to most Americans that foreign entities, billionaires, are prohibited from giving to candidates directly, but they can come in and influence state ballot measures all they'd like. And this is the progressive left's playbook, as they go around the conservative common sense state legislators and go to the ballots and put these billions of dollars, and now from out of country billionaires and dark money groups, and with no accountability. So it's a common sense idea.
Jonathan, I want to ask you, Lisa Nelson and you have been working together how long?
Over 10 years now.
So you've got the economist's dream job, meaning that you can actually do policy while you're doing economics. And I know that Kevin might get Hassett, good guy, good friend of the program, might end up being the Fed chair. how many other economists are happy with what they're doing? I mean, most people don't listen to them all the time. You got to be thrilled.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was just with Art Laffer a second ago.
Oh, were you?
He's another one. I mean,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the
Oh, yeah.
happy economists.
He's a generational legendary. He's like the Vince Lombardi of economists.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Laffer Curve at 50, as you know, we'll be celebrating that tonight here with Dr. Laffer and Steve Moore and some other luminaries coming to celebrate with the ALEC attendees tonight.
Does every state have decent economic analysis attached in their legislative analyst job?
Not even close.
Now tell me, why
Not
is
close.
that?
Well, one thing it's somewhat difficult for states to do well, and a lot of times the bureaucrats don't want to do it, right? I mean, if you were there at lunch where we heard former Chairman Henserling today talking about bureaucrats always wanting more money, wanting no accountability, that's the same issue when it comes to a lot of the economic forecasting that states have set up. There is zero supply side Laffer style analysis. They do these static scores, which means that if you cut tax rates by 10%, you lose 10% revenue. We know in a real world, people change their behavior based on incentives and taxes. That doesn't ever happen where it goes a 10% is a straight line reduction. And so states are missing that critical element to bringing reality to the forecasting that they do.
Have any in your profession, is a profession because you actually need a degree in economics to be able to do it, have they forecast where the population of the United States is going to live based upon migration patterns? Because they're not going to stay in California and New York. It's crazy to stay there. They're not going to stay there. Have you done any forecasting on where they're going to move to?
Well, as you may know, with the economic outlook ranking in rich states, poor states, there's a very tight correlation to the states that have the best economic outlook rankings and where people are moving. Not just net domestic migration, but overall population changes. The number one state, 18 years running, as you know well, is Utah.
Florida's no longer number two.
And they're always in the hunt, but Utah's been number one. Coincidentally or not, what's the fastest growing population state over the last decade? Utah. And so there's clear connections that obviously it's not just that simple, but you look at the top 10 versus the bottom 10, lots of different ways to slice and dice it, and taxes and other key measures of affordability like housing costs and energy costs and healthcare costs are all reasons obviously why people move.
How do you measure whether people are serious about building more homes and apartments? Because that actually, if you're 18 to 25 and you're looking to move somewhere, you want to know where the houses are going to be plentiful and the apartments don't break your back. How do you measure that?
Well, that's a tough one to measure. We don't measure it directly yet in rich states, poor states, but it's one of the many ideas over the course of this year you've given us to add new metrics to the latest and greatest in the future and updated rich states, poor states.
I just don't know how you would capture it.
It's tough to do.
It's done on a local.
But I think the one way to do it is measure the impact of government regulation on the cost of housing. We've talked about this where in Virginia, the brilliant Glenn Youngkin and his amazing economic plan that we've seen over the last 4 years gives so much money back to the hardworking taxpayers of Virginia. What most people don't know is the price of actually building a new home in Virginia has decreased substantially. I think it's something like $25,000 less now to build a new home in Virginia because of regulatory relief and real supply side reforms that you were talking about earlier today.
Well, yeah, I had California in mind because, of course, the NIMBY has been the dominant boomer aspect while the boomers were in charge, and they're aging out now. And I think people are realizing their kids are not going to be able to, the Gen X kids are not going to be able to buy a house if they don't build a lot more. How do you measure education choice for the metric purposes of richstate.poorstates.com?
Well, that's one that we have our own report, the ALEC Education Freedom Index, which the new edition will be out for National School Choice Week in January, where then we look at the states on the financing programs, their friendliness to homeschooling, lots of different ways that we think empower parents across the board to choose those educational options that are best for their kids. So that's the way that we measure it at ALEC, and then we can feed it in with the rich states, poor states, our energy affordability index, and so many of the other publications that we put together.
1 minute. So, Jonathan, thank you. I need to do my relief factor pitch here, but I appreciate very much being here, and I'm glad that we set the record straight on the millennium record of Michigan and Ohio State, 18-7 for the Buckeyes. Relief factor, I already took it in the first hour. It's empty because I already took my relief factor, but I remind you, this is not the Relief Factor Studios. You can tell by these Target Christmas trees that were acquired by Dwayne in a fit of interior decoration. But my relief factor did not involve putting them up, even though I don't think they're very heavy. My relief factor involved the dreaded overhead bin, which I tell you all about every time I tried it. I did not hurt anything with the dreaded overhead bin. I'll be doing the dreaded overhead bin at 6 a.m. in the morning, so I won't even have limbered up, but I did take my relief factor today. You ought to as well. 1-800, the number 4 and the word relief if you want to order the starter pack. $19.95. 3-week supply. There are people in the room. I hope they listen to me. If you have minor aches and pains, Dwayne's got minor aches and pains from sources other than me, go to relieffactor.com. That's relieffactor.com. 1-800, the number 4 relief, or relieffactor.com. Those of you who know Scripture know that the question is raised, can anything good come out of Nazareth? And the modern equivalent is, can anything good come out of Michigan? And the fact is, lawyers can come out of Michigan, and great legislative developments. Last night, I almost fell over my chair when Michigan Speaker Matt Hall announced, as we awarded Bonnie her award, you actually cut $5 billion year over year. So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes. Nobody believes anybody does that. Yeah. You actually went down in total expenditures $5 billion. Explain how that happened.
Yeah, so we had to start line by line, going through every line in the budget, looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. And we were laughed at when we started. People think, or at least Democrats think, there's no waste, fraud, and abuse. What we found, and I will tell you, I have an example. The Democrats say they go through line by line. We found in Michigan our Democrat Attorney General's budget was one line. So that's pretty easy when it's one line. So we said, no, we're going to turn this into like 50 lines, and we're going to find out everything that happens. And we had to do that in many places, but we found ghost employees. We found about 5,000 ghost employees, which are fake jobs that our Democrat Governor Whitmer created to pad departments, and that was hundreds of millions of dollars. We started looking at the grant spending that was going on and saying, why are we giving our money to to arts grants, to, so many museums.
Barbershop quartets.
Yeah, barbershop quartets.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, there were so many. I mean, and I mentioned the barbershop quartets came to the Capitol to protest us, and they were singing protest, and people said, wow, you're right. They didn't believe me this was real. And it's like, well, they're here. We saw that. There were millions in these grants.
What did they want the money for? Barbershop poles? What did they want?
Outfits? I don't know. It's a great question. What are you spending millions of dollars on? We found glass blowing, all kinds of things. We look into this. We say, why is there, we found puppet art in Detroit. I learned there's 2 or 3 different puppet art companies. Why?
My producer does puppets. Be careful.
Okay. Well,
Dwayne is a puppet guy.
Well, you should come to Michigan. We'll give you millions of dollars to do it.
So you got rid of the puppet budget?
We did. We got rid of all of that. The wasteful grants.
See, I love this segment. You're doing puppets and barbershop. You're giving me material for years.
Yeah, and so there's hundreds of millions of dollars of these wasteful grant programs. So we looked at the ghost employees, we looked at the wasteful grant programs, and then we started looking at big expansions in departments of government. I mean, in one department, governor, before the Republicans controlled the House, hired hundreds of new state workers to investigate complaints on gender identity in small businesses across Michigan. And we got rid of all that. So there was a lot of that was easy to cut.
You have a very narrow majority in the House,
right, and
you don't control the Senate, and you have a Democratic governor. So how did you get Democrats to agree to a $5 billion cut?
Well, I think we did a lot of homework on it. We clearly articulated the things we were trying to do, and then what we did is we tried to figure out other places that we could spend the money that we thought were higher priorities for the taxpayers. So we said, why? Because the Democrats were asking for tax increases, and so we said, should you raise taxes to pay for this stuff? We said, instead of, and this is what government always does, is they fund all that stuff, and then they come to you and say, we need to raise taxes to pay for roads or health care or education, public safety. So we said, what if we just flip that? What if we fund this stuff first, and then they can go and try to raise taxes for puppet art and barbershop quartets, and the public would never go for that.
Now, I got to ask you a question about my alma mater. They got Ray Kethledge there. Judge Ray Kethledge teaches federal courts, and he's a fine, conservative, superior fella, and there might be one other conservative on the line. It was a normal place when I went there in the 80s. How do you bring back ideological balance to your state school system?
Well, in Michigan, our Our state superintendent does not report to the governor. He reports to a board. So what we're going to try to do is do an amendment, a constitutional amendment in Michigan to move that superintendent under the governor and basically change the scope of the board so that we believe we're going to get a Republican governor after this election. In Michigan, it generally switches back and forth, and we're likely to get a Republican. So we want the Republican governor to be able to hold that superintendent accountable, because right now, when it's an independent board, it hasn't been working.
Well, good luck with that, Speaker Hall. And I want to just say, I know a lot of people got honored, and you honored your approach chair last night, but hats off to you. $5 billion is real money, and if every state did the same thing, that would be $250 billion $250 trillion that the states would save, and that would be a wonderful thing. Good to have you. Reminding you that at Angel Tree, you can make a child's Christmas for $30. The banner is at the top of HughHewitt.com. Prison Fellowship runs that program. And every $30 gets another child taken care of by their mom or dad. Even though that parent is in prison or jail, they get a present to their child with a handwritten note and a Bible and a connection to Angel Tree. Just go to my website, HughHewitt.com, and donate in increments of 30, or you can call 888-206-2764. And thank you for your generosity. I'm joined now by Florida Representative Bernie Jacques, and I'm great to have you here. Representative Danny Perez is normally here, and he's been waiting to be Speaker for so long. I've been doing this for 4 years. Now he's Speaker, he's just snubbing me. So when you see Danny, tell him he knew he wasn't going to come this year because he knew I was going to give it to him. You get along well with him?
I'll pass the message along.
Yeah. Do you like him?
I do. He's a robust speaker. He set up a committee on redistricting, which is a hot topic going on right now. We are in the property tax fight as well to
now
provide some
let's
relief.
talk about that. A committee is great. Is he going to redistrict?
Look, the committee is set up, and nothing is done without full intent. So we're going to be meeting. I'm not on the committee, so there is a committee meeting. I think that will be happening soon, and so we'll know more about that as it moves along. I'm also watching, as somebody who's not on the committee, to see what we end up doing there.
Now, are they going to redistrict just the congressional districts?
We're talking about just congressional.
Might one of them appeal to you?
No, sir. I have no interest in going up to the swamp. I love my state, and that's where I intend to stay.
All right. You're on the Education Committee, though, right?
I am. I'm on a higher education budget.
Okay. University of Florida needs a football coach.
They certainly do. They certainly do. Now, the University of South Florida just got a great coach.
You just got a great coach.
Out of Ohio State. That's right.
It hurts, but he was going to be a head coach somewhere, so that is a big win for Florida.
Huge.
But when states pay out coaches, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, look, I mean, it's based on the costs and the benefits to if it pans out, right? So if it works, you've got a great legacy and dynasty that you can build upon. When it doesn't work, I mean, it puts them on in tough financial times. Florida State is probably amongst those who are in a tough spot right now because the payout is so high. But such is the nature of college sports. I mean, I love it. There are things that I wish weren't part of the game that are part of the game now, but it's never lacking for entertainment.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to Flagler in late February, early March. Look out about whether or not that could become another residence for me and get the heck out of Virginia, because Virginia is going deep blue, and I'm looking for a red state. Flagler is a pretty good college. But I'm wondering about the Hamilton program. Did you have a hand in that? That's a great program.
Yeah, so I was in the legislature when that was set up, and we need more of that. We need to get back to basic classical education, remove the woke indoctrination, and get back to real education, forming citizens. That's what education was about when our founders came together. They wanted to form great citizens in this great republic, and the Hamilton Center does that.
Who came up with that idea? Maybe explain it to the audience, because I've heard about it on the Commentary podcast primarily, and I said, whoa, what an idea.
So Governor DeSantis has led on a lot of those initiatives when it comes to getting back to basics, getting back to classical education. And you're also seeing it with a new college of Florida, which has been our state college, a liberal arts college, that was really overtaken. It was institutional capture by the woke left. And we got that back to have a predominant liberal arts option that is a state university. And so that is something that is, a lot of states are looking towards again, and is bringing us back again for the original purpose of education, not woke indoctrination. Let's get back to the classics, especially when it comes to liberal arts.
I hope you and the governor and a bunch of people give a speech about Hamilton, because I think it's going around the institutionalized faculty. It's an end run, and it worked, and I'm very happy about that. Now let's talk about illegal immigrant driver's license, the great tragedy. Everyone's seen the video. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. That's a California problem. We gave them the license. I used to live there. That's why I'm still automatically saying we, but I fled 10 years ago. What are you going to do about it?
So we're going to do some further cracking down, especially on commercial driver's license. We don't issue those in Florida, and so it's an interstate type of situation. And in Florida, we haven't issued a driver's license to any illegals whatsoever. My first session, I passed a bill that built upon that invalidated the driver's licenses being issued to illegal aliens from other states. It was part of a big comprehensive bill. And so if somebody's coming from California and they're displaying a driver's license issued to them and they're illegal, it would be considered invalid in Florida, and they will be dealt with accordingly as if they're driving without a license in the state of Florida. So we need to be laser focused as well on these commercial driver's licenses where folks are coming in with these trucks. Horrible tragedy that you just alluded to that happened because an illegal was issued a CDL. We are going to be cracking down on that. You can expect something that's very robust to come out this session, but we'll continue to hold the line and making sure that we as a state never issue those driver's licenses to illegals.
So Representative Jacques, you amended the bill to get that in?
Yeah. So
how many years you been in?
Since 2022. Since 2022.
That's a big deal.
In the 2022 session, it was a very robust package. Not only did we pass that, we added metrics for our hospitals to monitor how many illegals are coming into their facility so we can know what the cost is, so we can know how to address it. We also upped the antes on those smuggling and bringing in illegals into our state. Upping criminal penalties because it is human smuggling for purposes of labor and other things. And we also advanced the ball forward on E-Verify, which we're trying to get the job done this session to make it apply to all companies.
Florida is getting greater and greater every day. Representative Jacques, thank you for joining me. Congratulations. Keep working, and tell Danny that he skipped, even though he's finally the speaker. He skipped. I can't believe it. All right.
Well, thanks for having me on. Long-time listener.
Really?
Yeah.
First-time guest.
First-time guest.
Keep coming back. I hope I'm at Florida. Long time. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, Hugh.
Got to tell you about Consumer Cellular. ConsumerCellular.com/Hugh. ConsumerCellular.com/Hugh, or you can call the number 1-800-411-4454, 1-800-411-4454, especially if you're 50 and older. Why? Because you're buying too much data. Maybe you want an unlimited data plan, fine. You probably don't need it. You probably only need 5 gigs or 10 gigs. But if you want the insurance of an unlimited data plan, you go to ConsumerCellular.com/Hugh and say, Hugh25, that's my code. You'll get an additional $5 off for the first 5 months, and you'll get an offer. 2 lines, unlimited data, $60 a month if you're 50 or older. Pretty much everyone can save money on their data plan if they go to ConsumerCellular.com. Remember, if you call Consumer Cellular at 1-800-411-4454, use my code Hugh25 to get that $5 off. For the first 5 months, have your cell phone bill in front of you so you can compare and shop and save money during the holidays. ConsumerCellular.com. ALEC is a wonderful organization. They have Chaplain Richard Stoglin here, and he's going to take us out this hour. See to it that no one misses the grace of God. Where's that from, Chaplain?
That is from the gospel.
Hebrews 12:15.
Yes,
that's my verse.
It is from the epistles.
All right, so take it away.
Well, what is it you want to ask me? My name is Chaplain Rich Stoglin, and I am the president of the Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County, which started in 1985. We are an independent organization, not related to any other Frederick Douglass society or think tank, but we do a lot of great work. We have 7 major events every year, including a party where we donate boxes and bikes for Toys for Tots. We have the reenactment of President Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass that actually happened in the White House that changed the Civil War. People talk about, in the black church particularly, not as much now, unfortunately, as it did at one point, Night Watch. Well, what was Night Watch? Night Watch is from old year going into the new year. Well, why is Watch Night, rather, important for the black church particularly? Because a guy named Frederick Douglass William Lloyd Garrison and other abolitionists, escaped slaves, were waiting on this guy named Abraham Lincoln to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. So they waited from 1862, 31 December to 1 January 1863, and between those hours, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
I didn't know that.
And that was a watch night. That's why we call it watch night, particularly in the black community and specifically in the South.
So, Chaplain, why did Alec bring you today? I think it's just great. I missed your prayer today. I'm sure it was a good one.
Well, those who heard it said it was, but Alec brought me because I'm the president of Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County. I'm also a veteran. I was the
Navy man.
Yes, I was a Navy chaplain, primarily assigned to the Marines for 23 years of my 28 years and 2 days. And my last assignment, I was the command chaplain of 39 nations of the world in Afghanistan, number 2 on the enemy snipers list. And so I guess between
You're not a small target.
No, sir. And I had a full-time security team. And so Alec invited me by way of Senator Theo King, who is a member of Frederick
he was on
Douglass
earlier
Republicans
today.
Of Tarrant County. You don't have to be a black American to be a member of Frederick Douglass Republicans.
And you're an
of Tarrant.
Anglican.
And I'm an Anglican priest. I'm the director of the Anglican Diocese of Fort Worth.
Now,
57
Father Stoglin,
churches.
I don't meet many African American
No, you don't.
Anglicans.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
are you like a club of one?
I am the first black American to be ordained in the Anglican Diocese of Fort Worth in 2022, 29 June, as a deacon. And then on 14 January 2023, I was ordained a priest. And I'm the director of community engagements, 57 churches covering 2 states. I'm the first black American to be ordained in the history of this 44-year-old diocese.
Well, I'm honored to have you on the program.
Thank you.
I'm grateful about Watch Night, which I did not know. And I'm going to be looking up the website. What is the website?
Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County. You have to write it all out. And we also have a pact, which is separate and apart.
I appreciate your being with me, Chaplain, and thank you for your service in the Navy here and abroad. Not sure what the Navy was doing in Afghanistan. That's a time for another day, but God bless you. Thank you for being here. Don't go anywhere,
Honored to
America.
be
I'm
here.
coming right back from Fort Worth. My last hour broadcasting from the American Legislative Exchange Council this year's Public Policy Forum in the winter. Finally, they gave me a Buckeye. State Senator Serino is back with me. Jerry Serino got everyone last night. We had 1,800 people there. Hushed everyone when he announced he had 40 grandchildren. I've got 7, and my back is still hurt from Thanksgiving. How many did you have at your Thanksgiving?
All of them. All of my family, my 9 children and my 39 grandchildren, all live in Cleveland.
Are they all Browns fans?
They are all Browns fans, and they're all conservatives.
Oh, you're doing the Lord's work. Are they Guardians fans too?
Yeah, I think some like baseball, some don't. A lot of football, and one of my grandsons is the quarterback of Mount Union University.
Oh, that's it. That's where he's not my nephew. He's my niece's husband, who would play O-line at Mount Union, one of their national championship teams.
They're great.
Are they still good?
Yeah, they are great. They're 11-0, and they just had their first playoff game last week. My grandson's name is Mikey Maloney, and he's an outstanding quarterback.
Senior, junior, QB?
He's a quarterback, yes. And
senior, junior?
He is a sophomore, but he's been redshirted, so he will be playing for.
How big's this young man?
He's only 6 foot tall, but he is a double threat because he passes with accuracy and he runs. He almost had as many running yards as most of his running backs.
So, the Michigan people have cleared out now that we have 2 Buckeyes here. They don't want to hear us talk about Saturday.
I got tired of hearing that last night.
Okay, let's get to the serious stuff because you were the Legislator of the Year. That's a big deal. And congratulations on that. A lot of big wins. We got the flat tax in Ohio finally. And tell us about that, and then let's get to SB1.
Okay, sure. Well, flat tax was something that had been sort of an objective of most of the people in our caucus. We have in Ohio, we have a supermajority in the House and the Senate, which is great because that enables us to override vetoes when we have to. Okay.
Even though it's a Republican governor, sometimes you guys are the right of Mike DeWine.
We've done it 3 times in my 5 years there, so it's unusual, but it does happen. So we had been on a course of action over the last 10 years, really, before I even got there, to lower not only the rate of taxation for the state tax, which was as high as 9.5% when it the first few years when it began in the late 70s, and had like 8 or 9 brackets to it. So we have been ratcheting that down over the last several years. And finally, in the budget, and I'm finance chairman of the Senate committee that does the budgeting, that we drove this to a flat tax of 2.75%.
You know, Ohio is already booming. That's going to make it just take off.
We believe so. We believe.
And you have school choice.
We have what we call Ed Choice scholarships.
Now, Aaron Bear is a good friend of mine.
Okay, well, yeah, Aaron is great, and we worked very hard for that.
His wife's a Steelers fan.
We have to overlook certain things.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes,
okay. We forgive sinners.
Yes,
yeah.
in the spirit of working together.
Yeah.
But that's giving parents a great option to take their children out of schools that are underperforming, and there are many of them, and give them a choice to go someplace else. It's also strengthened financially a lot of our private schools as well.
Let's turn to SB1 because The Ohio State University is not only the national champion and on a run to become it 2 years in a row. You got a great president. He's a Naval Academy grad, and he's doing great stuff. And Ohio State's law school is the equal of any law school in the United States. It wasn't that way when I got out. I went to Michigan because it wasn't, but now it is. What is your bill going to do?
Well, Senate Bill 1 was signed by the governor this past June.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I worked on it. Its predecessor bill that didn't get a vote in the House was Senate Bill 138. I'm sorry, Senate Bill 35. It was really a sweeping reform of higher education. In Ohio, we have 14 state universities.
Oh, yeah, my son went to Miami of Ohio.
Okay, well, that was one of them.
Yep.
And we also have 22 community colleges. And so my first bill when I first got to the Senate, it was Senate Bill 135. And it provided the beginnings of some university reform. But Senate Bill 83 in the last General Assembly, which didn't pass the House, so I had to reintroduce it this past January as Senate Bill 1, which showed everybody that it was a priority for the Senate. And it is the most sweeping bill for higher education reform. However, it's only the beginning. We have a long way to go to extract the wokeness out of our universities, to bring meritocracy back to our universities, and that includes medical schools and law schools as well. It creates an environment of diversity of thought, which was the original idea behind the university in the first place decades ago. But that has been eroded over the last several decades.
Well, you know what the quote from the game this year is Ryan Day after the conclusion said, "Win with humility." That ought to become Ohio's state motto, win with humility. So you've won, and you're being humble about it, but no one reforms higher ed in America. How hard was this?
It was very difficult. I was called every name you could think of, from Nazi to Hitler to fascist to racist, to et cetera. And because I added in this a no strike provision, the faculty unions went absolute berserk over this. They protested my neighborhood, my house, outside the State House. On the college campuses, at that time I had 7 grandsons at various universities around Ohio. And they were subjected to posters with my picture and lots of negative things. Yes.
Was getting hammered?
I felt bad for my grandchildren.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I've guaranteed mine I'm going to retire before I embarrass them. So
I could take it. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, it reinforces my passion for the subject matter. But, when you think about it, Hugh, these faculty strikes, which usually they didn't happen, but they were always threatened as a means to get a better dental plan or to get, some other benefit that they wanted. And I look at it this way. It's quite simply a contract between the student and the university. And because they're state universities, it's the state. That you pay for tuition, you pay your tuition up front, and what you're getting in return is instruction, right? That's a contract between those two parties. Why would we allow a third party, faculty unions, to interrupt the delivery of the instruction that has been paid for?
Only because we got used to saying yes.
Yeah.
And I'm a tenured faculty member. And I know we just got used to getting our way.
Right. And so that's now going to be, that is over. And we've also done some things to require post-tenure reviews of faculty members.
Okay.
Great faculty have nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about at all.
It's the ones that are sliding for 10, 15, 20, or 30 years. Who don't like to teach courses, who want to do research.
No wonder they hate you.
They do. They do. And you know what?
I got people who've got mold growing on them. No, I mean, people haven't moved out of their office in years.
How about this? How about requiring, as we did in the bill, I wrote this section myself, to require annual performance reviews of the faculty. I mean, businesses have been doing that for
Forever.
decades. Right.
Who's going to write them, the deans?
Well, it's a process. The chairs and the deans will have, and the provost ultimately, with an appeal process, because we want people to be evaluated fairly.
So what the presidents of the university, is it President Strickland? Is that running Ohio State now? What's
Carter.
Carter. Oh,
Yes.
that's right. And he's got a great handle for his flight name, but I can't remember what it is.
Well, I don't even know, actually, but we've met many times since in fact, he called me while he was appointed before he even arrived in Columbus, because I was chairing higher ed committee at that time in the
Well,
Senate.
he stamped out the anti-Semitic stuff. He put an end to that.
He did, but they have work to do, quite frankly, on DEI, because they were spending $14 million a year on DEI programs.
At the Ohio State University?
At the Ohio State University, and they had 144 people employed. We're watching very carefully to see how those are being dismantled. And the bottom line, Hugh, is that I get asked all the time, well, what about this program or that program? It's helping this group or that group. And my answer is quite simple. DEI has become institutional discrimination.
Sure, it's also unconstitutional as can be.
It is. And I said, any program, any club or whatever that excludes somebody else because of their race, their gender, their nationality or whatever, is wrong and is not going to be permitted under this law. And we are watching all of these very carefully. That's why I said at the beginning that we have a long way to go still, but we have the power of the purse. And I'm also finance chair in the Senate, so I control the budget for the Senate along with President McCauley. We are going to use the dollars that we have.
Senator, are you term limited?
I am term limited. I have 3 more years after this.
Work hard.
I'm going to.
Don't waste a day.
We're going to get things done.
Are you in? How many years you been in state?
I'm in my finishing up my 5th year, but I didn't run till I was 65.
All right, Sammy Cavelli, if you're listening, help this man out. There are people in Ohio who really like change. And
Yes,
good for you.
We need to embrace it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming by. Congratulations on the award, and more importantly, congratulations on SR1. Anyone cover that in the national media?
Oh yeah, it's been covered quite a bit. Even the Chronicle of Higher Education.
Oh, they must really love that.
They've actually written about it, and we've had some favorable press, but mostly negative.
Senator Serino, thank you, and go Browns.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say to my friend Christopher Scalia, if you're listening, Father Paul Scalia, last night at the American Legislative Exchange Council, they gave a Scalia Award, and they gave it to my next guest, Missouri Senator Nick Schroer. Senator, that was quite an award. They spent a lot of time talking about where it came from and what it honors, and then you and I were seated next to each other. We talked a little bit. It meant a lot to you. Why?
Well, it really did. I'm the first member of my family to go to college, and then I went on to law school. And it was Scalia in con law when we started evaluating a lot of these cases and his dissent, the originalism approach to interpreting these laws, that kind of inspired me to get involved in not necessarily the political game, but the law school Republicans. I got involved in them, got involved in the Federalist Society, and by my 3rd year I was elected president. And when I decided to finally run, when I was fed up with the system of state government back in Missouri, it was the same year he passed away. And it's always been something where he's stood on what he truly believes in, which I firmly believe is the truth. It's the best option of interpreting our Constitution, but just being a fighter. And if you have to be out there on an island by yourself, and that's kind of what I've done when I was in the House and now in the Senate in the state of Missouri, is just fighting for the truth and fighting for restoring the true intent of our founders.
Now, you're practicing, so that's good, and you're legislating, so that's good. Do you ever want to be a judge?
You know, not right now. Not right now. I've got 2 young ones. I'm helping a lot of good clients out right now. I've done business law. I'm now doing personal injury law. I've done family law, and that kind of prepared me for the craziness of the Missouri Capitol.
I've never had the courage to do family law.
I would say stay away from it.
Yeah.
Stay far away from it. It's kind of like what I tell people wanting to get in politics. Just be prepared for the fight.
And so, plaintiff's work, which city are you in?
St. Louis area.
Okay.
So a lot of different counties around that side of the state of Missouri, and a little bit of work in southern Illinois as well.
Tell me a little bit about how much time you have to spend legislating, how much time you have to spend practicing law, and how, when you've got a trial date, you can make that work.
So in the state of Missouri, we've got legislative continuances. This is something that goes a long time back. So if you are actively in session or a special session, all you have to do is just file a motion for a legislative continuance, and the judge has to grant that. But our sessions go from January through May, typically Monday through Thursday. There is a lot of downtime, especially with the unfettered filibuster in the Missouri Senate, which happens a lot over the past couple of years. You can, spend some of that downtime or in the evenings working on some of these cases as well.
Now, Senator Hawley and his wonderful wife, extraordinary lawyers, they've been on the program. Senator Schmidt comes on often. Senator Schmidt pretends that Missouri's in the SEC, and I tell him I really did not know that. And so, did you know that?
Well, yeah, compared to all the other schools that are in there, we've done pretty good since we came in. I think we were the SEC champs in our division when we first came in. Coach Drankwitz has done a great job recruiting, so I think there is some hope to put us on the map with some of the Alabama and others over the next couple of years.
It's kind of like deciding to fight in the heavyweight if you've been down in the lightweight for a little bit, but that's good. Tell me a little bit about...
We're still punching, though.
What do you want to get done? Well, let's first talk about what you did get done. You got rid of the state equivalent of Chevron deference.
Correct.
How?
Well, we basically did what the decision when they repealed it. We did that on the state level by saying that the three branches of government, there's not a fourth one, there's not this bureaucratic state, and we clearly defined that all of these challenges must be on a de novo basis rather than simply siding with the bureaucrats. Ended up getting Democrats to vote for it as well because they understood if the pendulum ever swings back and the Democrats are going to be in the political offices, you could have some out-of-control bureaucrats that have a conservative swing.
Now, when you're called an ALEC policy champion, what does that mean?
Well, it's a big deal to me because this is something that we saw other states doing. In the Show Me State, we typically have to look at what others are doing. I hate that. But I think we were the fourth state that ended up getting rid of the state equivalent of Chevron. And this is a policy issue that we took up a couple of years ago. We've been discussing this even before Chevron was overturned. But this is restoring the balance of government, restoring the three branches of government, getting rid of all these extracurricular fourth branches, fifth branches, quasi-judicial or branches that you have with the bureaucratic state.
Now, I've asked no other guest this, but you're the first one in your family to go to school.
Correct.
College. What's your family story? Were they Missourians for a long time?
Yeah, my grandpa, he came here, grew up as a farmer in Illinois, came here, went to World War II, joined the Army Air Corps, turned into the Air Force, came back, worked for McDonnell Douglas for a while. My dad is a auto body mechanic type of guy, works on cars. When they started computer stuff, he just did auto body. My mom worked for the post office, and I would hear stories about how inefficient the government getting involved in the mail was. But essentially, I went on to college. I had the opportunity to go into the military. Both of my grandpas, the one who I was very close with, Art Schroer, convinced me, as did my other grandpa, who was a Marine Corps sniper in Korea. They said, look, you're the first one getting scholarship opportunities to play football. And I went from there, and my eyes kind of opened in college.
Are you a Marine?
I'm not. I decided not to go.
Okay, I was going to say I would have picked that up last night because I'm married to a Marine Corps brat.
Yeah, but I had an Air Force and a Marine Corps grandpa both telling me, get your butt in school. You're the first one that actually has the opportunity to. Went on to law school thereafter. And I've got two little girls right now, and seeing what's happening, I saw the last guest talking about DEI and secondary education, things of that nature.
We fixed that in Ohio. I don't know if you've got that.
We need to fix it in
Missouri.
I know that there was a executive order, but they're still renaming it and doing other magical things to try and influence our kids. But that's why I'm fighting the fight that I am now in politics. I could be out there making a heck of a lot more money than what we're getting paid in the state of Missouri. But the fight is something that truly is impactful because of my kids and hopefully my grandkids.
Missouri used to be, Jim Talent's a friend of the program, so we like Jim Talent.
Love
and
Jim
Talent.
Talent.
And you had Claire McCaskill for a long time.
Don't like Claire McCaskill.
Went off the boards. Then it's become a ruby red state. What happened?
Well, I think the elected officials started listening to the people, at least on the statewide basis and in the federal government as well. It took a while for our supermajority Republican Party to start doing that. It took us a while to change the initiative petition process in our state to go to a 7-1 map. And, thanks to the new leadership that we have working with the administration, our Governor Kehoe is able to change that to a 7-1 map. But, I think...
Is that for this election cycle?
That is, and it's being challenged. So There's some data or signature collectors out there trying to get data from people. They've challenged it in several other states with this same exact group. So we're hoping they don't get the signatures.
That's Eric Holder's group.
That is, 100%.
And they're very good at making up stuff. So have you won yet? Have you got a decision from the three-judge panel?
We have not. We have not. So that's what we're going to be holding out for. But I know still with the signature gathering, there's a lot of extracurriculars, some criminal activity that's being alleged, and a lot of whistleblowers, a lot of grassroots folks are following these people around and recording them. So it's a 50-50 shot that they're going to have, because as you stated, they're very good at doing this. They're very good at lying. They're very good at deceiving people. But we're very good at keeping a watchful eye on them right now.
So if the map goes to 7-1, how many seats do we pick up? We being the Republicans.
We would pick up one. We would pick up one. And
everyone counts. Could be a one-house seat.
That's exactly
could be a one vote.
And we saw with the Speaker's debacle a couple of years ago when there was a tie, that one vote could have absolutely decided it.
Absolutely. I want to, again, the Scalia Award winner is Senator Nick Schroer. Did I say that right?
You did.
I did. And Senator, where's your district?
It's in St. Charles County. It's the safest county right outside of St. Louis.
Okay, so I got a big stick in St. Louis. I hope they're listening tonight. Thank you, Senator, for joining me. Don't go anywhere, America. Remember, over at Angel Tree, the banner is at the top of HughHewitt.com. We take care of the kids of the people who've ended up in prison. Those children did not do anything wrong. They deserve a Christmas, too. Every $30 gets a present from that parent in prison to that child with a note and a Bible. So if you give $30, $60 to 2 kids, $9 3 kids, the banner is at the top of HughHewitt.com. And thank you in advance for your generosity. Representative Demi Busada is from Coral Gables. And I love Coral Gables. She's from Miami. She's here for the Danny Perez, who did not show, so I gave him a hard time about redistricting. So I'm going to start. Are you going to get it done?
We're going to get something done this coming session. So the Speaker has created a special committee on that issue, and our session kicks off on January 13th.
And when do you have to finish up to have districts that people know where to run in?
Well, so our session is scheduled to end May 13th. This past session, we, of course, extended. We had a couple special sessions. So it ends when we get the job done.
And then people will have to run around and find a district in which to file?
So June is the filing deadline, also for state house seats. So we'll all be up next year in the state house. We run every 2 years, and we have term limits. So June would be the filing deadline.
Are you ruling out one of those CDs if it comes your way?
I'm running for the House again next year. I'll be up for my last term in the House.
All right, because
I've
you're
already
going to be the
filed
national chair
for my
of
House.
ALEC.
That's right.
And
I already
so let's
filed for my
talk
House
about-
district.
We got like 4 minutes. Tell us what your vision is, because Senator Rucker has really led this group very well. What do you want to do with ALEC?
Well, I want to continue the great work that so many of my predecessors have laid the foundation for, including Lisa Nelson. I come into ALEC seeing all the amazing work and all the amazing things that people have accomplished over many years, but I've also learned the history where, ALEC wasn't where it was now. So I want to continue that momentum, especially next year. We're going into the 250th anniversary of America, so we want to make sure that
it's fun for you to do it.
It
during
is.
that.
I'm excited, and we'll be back in Florida next year. So we were there under Danny Perez as well when he was national
I might be back in
chair.
Orlando with you.
How could you not?
Well, the only thing about Orlando, A, he always leaves and goes over to Disneyland, and then B, getting your luggage during a thunderstorm is a challenge. That's the only thing I didn't like about Orlando. I want to, you told me during the break, you work with adults with disabilities. Do you think Alex got a role there?
Absolutely. So that's definitely something that I want to work on. It's been a big deal in Florida under the leadership of Danny Perez. So in my real job, as I say, I work at a Center for Adults with Developmental Disabilities. It's an issue that's near and dear to Speaker Perez's heart. And, we've taken this approach that it's not one size fits all. Just because, you have multiple people who have autism or Down syndrome or cerebral palsy, you don't treat them all the same. For life.
For life,
exactly.
not just children.
Exactly, for life. And they age out of the K through 12 system. They will outlive their parents, but we need to make sure that we're giving them, the proper programs and services that they deserve to live a fulfilling life and reach their full potential.
And housing for them, I know this because
Yes.
my neighbor has a child who's now an adult with disabilities, and housing is always an issue. And I don't think anyone thinks about it. And so ALEC would be perfect, and it's sort of counterintuitive for a group that does mostly economic policy to do some health and human services policy. So are you all in? Are you talking about that to them already?
Absolutely. So we have a housing facility that just opened in Miami. There's one in Tallahassee that I actually just toured a few weeks ago. Beyond that, workforce is a big deal. So the center I work at, we have a workforce program, and most of them want jobs. If they can have a job, we help them hone in on what skills and find those community partners and make sure that we set everyone up for success so they can have that independence. They love to get a paycheck just like the rest of us do.
So your governor got a viral clip last week, and I just watched it 3 or 4 times. Property taxes are like having to rent property from the government. I said, yes! Can you actually reform property taxes?
So that is what we're working on. That's the big talk this session. So right now we have 7 House joint resolutions. They're called that because anything we do to change property taxes has to go on the ballot before the voters and has to pass by 60%. So right now we have 7 that are going to go through the committee process and go through session. We'll see what comes out at the end, and we'll put something before the voters so we can, help alleviate some of that pressure that property taxes have been causing to our residents.
Well, the only good thing about California is Prop 13, and it's what's keeping people there, but you can also screw up the housing market. So are there going to be hearings, rely on expert testimony and all that good stuff?
So Speaker Perez appointed a special committee last session just for property taxes. They traveled throughout the state to get feedback from various stakeholders, community members, and right now those House joint resolutions are going through the committee process where many people have come and spoken, in favor or expressed any concerns, and that's why we have a process, is because we want feedback and we want to put the best product forward.
Less than a minute. How much time does ALEC take up for a busy legislator and professional and adult disabilities?
The right amount of time, however much time it takes to get the job done.
Are you in D.C. a lot?
As much as Lisa Nelson will have me. So
well, you have a great staff at ALEC, and she is, of course, the CEO. President John Williams, though, is from Michigan. Overlook everything he says that has to do with sports. Have you done NIL yet?
We have touched on it. So I'm a Seminole, not having a great season. Ooh. I know you're having a great season.
2.
Yeah, you are. So I definitely think that's something that we need to look at on the national level. I love college sports. I love college football.
Got to save the pageantry, save
the
joy.
Exactly. And not to mention the transfer portal is adding another layer to
Amen.
it. So
good to meet you. Thank
Likewise.
you. Come back. Bring Danny with you next time.
Absolutely.
I'll be right back, America. Stay tuned. Texas is going to close out our guest. I'll have myself a merry little Christmas if the Supreme Court throws out that crazy Texas redistricting decision. And Jerry Smith is my favorite judge of the year because of the opinion that he wrote. Paul Betancourt is a senator. What do you think? How do you like your opinions, chances before the Supreme Court?
Well, Hugh, all I wanted was just 5 more Republican seats. We just needed 5 more Republican seats. And if we'd made it that easy, Jerry wouldn't have had to have his complicated, he
was hot.
He was hot. He was mad.
I like it when judges are hot. And do you feel confident?
I feel confident. We when you look back on all this type of stuff, you could have turned left versus turning right, or et cetera. But Jerry's dissent points the way, and he's been around for an awfully long time.
He's a very well-respected judge.
No, he started in Harris County like I did back when
I know that.
No, when I was a tax assessor, the only one in the state for a tax cut. That's how I started.
Let's get to property tax. I want to make sure we cover this because property taxes are driving people from New York. They are driving people from the state of Maine. They are driving people from wherever. They can't have wages rise as fast as property taxes. So what are you doing about it?
We've dumped $51 billion into buying down the tax rate, increasing homestead exemptions in Texas. In the last 2 years.
Now explain that. I'm just a lawyer.
I'll rewind the tape. We've been able to save homeowners in Texas $2,080, all 5.7 million of them, by dumping $51 billion into
makes sense to me.
Yeah, cutting the tax rate and then raising the exemptions. And actually,
do they know that? Do they feel it? Do they say thank you, Senator Betancourt?
They do when they got their tax bill and they turn it over and they see it. In fact, the over 65s are so happy at this point. About over half of them are not paying. They're paying
I'm
zero.
I'm not going to tell you who's over 65 in this room. I like that idea.
I know nothing. I see nothing. Okay. And that over half of the after the over 65s are paying no school tax at this point in time.
Now, where do you guys? How do you California? I'm so afraid of being there longer than 4 months. They'll slap me with taxes. How do you do it? How do you guys cut taxes and have school choice? How does Texas do everything?
It helps having Lieutenant Governor Patrick and I have been working on this for 20 years. And we've looked at a lot of solutions. And when you got a lieutenant governor as the most powerful position in the legislature plowing the road, we've been able to get actually bipartisan consensus. The last bill on raising the homestead exemption passed both houses unanimously. And more important, about 80% of the public voted for it too. Because they know raising exemption means lower bills.
Now, I got for the first time to hear Lieutenant Governor Patrick, who is like a phenom. He's well known, but I had never heard him before. He was fabulous. Why? For the benefit of the Steelers fans, so slow down a lot. Why is he the most powerful man in Texas?
Well, I was at the Steelers-Packers game, okay, and watched the Steelers lose.
Good!
But Dan Patrick, he's a winner. I just love my religious guys. I put him in charge of commissions, and I invite him to the White House, and I just love it. Now, why Lieutenant Governor is important in Texas because he's the president of the Senate, and he's elected statewide, so he's got a statewide portfolio with the voters. Okay. See, the speaker, is elected in a small district,
right,
and he gets speaker. The representatives vote for him, but Dan gets elected as lieutenant governor of Texas statewide. So when he wants to, plow the road on something important, whether it's getting rid of ESG or DEI or any other three-letter federal acronym, CRT, it blasts through the Senate.
Are you doing ESG? And that is what corporations use to ruin America. So are you doing anything about it?
Yeah, we did. We had just a bonfire of the vanities a couple years back where we invited all the big financial institutions into a small town in East Texas, and we roasted them, because they brought up one DEI vice president after the next. And this is all the majors, okay? And we knew we were on track when Vanguard basically bailed out before the meeting and said, we're dropping E and S, we're going to G, okay? Now, so we've got quite a squad of heroes in the Texas Senate. That one, the chairman of that one, Brian Hughes, but we roasted him at that meeting, Hugh, on purpose. Because when you put all this other junk into making decisions about what you should invest in, we had like ISS telling our own employee fund not to invest in our own Texas energy projects, and they were making less of a return. I mean, that's how crazy this stuff is.
Senator, I'm low on time. Are you a Longhorn?
No, I'm an Aggie.
Okay, so the Aggies, are they making the playoffs? They're not making the playoffs.
No, we're in the playoffs. We're number 7.
No, but I mean, you guys lost.
No. It doesn't matter. We only lost 1 out of 12 games. Yeah, but we got 3. Texas has 3 shots at the championship. Texas Tech, the UT, University of Texas, who whipped us but 1 game.
Steve Sarkisian gave like Cicero on why he should be in the playoffs.
There's only 1 Ohio team.
The Big Ten deserves 4, and we're kowtowing to the SEC. But we have the Texas Tech challenger here. So but you're an Aggie.
Right, I'm an Aggie.
Largest Catholic group in America is on Aggie.
At Texas A&M. In fact,
that surprises people more than anything.
No, it's a huge Catholic school, and
people don't know that.
No, they don't, and but there's lots of gems in Texas. Now that you're down here regularly, we can take you around to.
You got to talk to fetching Mrs. Hewitt. She just says it.
Well, you got her out of California. So,
I did, and she went down to Fort Worth today, and she didn't have any boots. She talked to me about getting boots. I said, "What? They're not going to work in Virginia, honey. People don't wear boots in Virginia." In terms of your governor, I just want to say, you've been blessed with great leadership. Rick Perry and Greg Abbott. Rick Perry used to come when I lived in California with Velcro on his hands and take businesses and bring them back to Texas.
Well, no, and I mean, I grew up with Rick as an Aggie because he was kind of the quintessential Aggie governor. And no, he
shoot the coyote when you run, governor.
Yeah. That's right. No, and I tell you, his popularity went up 10 points. Because, but that's because we still have what I call blueberries in Texas. One of them being Austin. The People's Republic of Austin, who just couldn't understand why a governor in self-defense would shoot a coyote that was snarling and ready to jump on him. Okay, well, but that's what you learn in Texas is to defend yourself.
Connie came on the program once, and we had a technical misfunction. And we talked to him for 40 minutes, and the tape was garbled.
Oh, too
And
bad.
that man came back and did it again.
Well,
So
that's Rick Perry. He didn't give up.
No, I'm talking about Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, Matthew, okay.
And so I'm just saying Texans are nice, even if they're wrong on politics. And Green Lights is his book. It was very good, but Texans are very nice. It's good to have Alec here. You're the state chair of Alec?
Yes.
Are you raising up someone to take over for you?
Already have, because he was smart enough to leave the House of Representatives, which is Dennis Paul, and he's running for Senate. So he's a battlefield promotion already in
All right,
process.
Paul Betancourt, Alex State Chair, thank you. Last segment from Texas and the wonderful set that Dwayne put together. If you're watching on the Salem News Channel, my Charlie Brown Christmas trees. I am not in the Relief Factor studio, but I did take my Relief Factor today, and I do want to remind you, 1-800, the number 4, and the word relief, 1-800-4-RELIEF. You'll feel better if you start taking it. I've been taking it for 12 years. I've taken no other supplement for more than 20. I get my miles in. I've done nothing except talk for 3 or 4 days, but that's fine. When I get back to Virginia, I'll get my miles in because Relief Factor really does work. Started back in 1995. Go to relieffactor.com to order it, 1-800, the number 4, and the word relief, or go to relieffactor.com. You will thank me. It does work. I carry curcumin, resveratrol, and omega. Helps your body's natural and anti-inflammatory system. Stay working. ReliefFactor.com. Senator Betancourt, stay around because he's one of the few people who understand housing. It's all one market, and it's your job to make sure the market grows.
And it's a national market, and you got to understand that everybody's competing, so you have to do something about it. We passed 9 bills to get ahead on housing affordability, not just the homestead exemptions, but minimum lot sizes, so cities weren't, boxing people out, taking, commercial office buildings, converting them into lofts, cutting all the red tape with that. Tyrant's veto used to be able to block multifamily. Just one person in the People's Republic of Austin could stop an entire multifamily. We went through and did all of this. Had a ton of help from a lot of people in the House, as well as Nicole Nozick and others that understand that you want to get ahead of housing affordability problems, because if you wait to be California, it's too late.
We are 40 million, I'm wrong, 4 million houses behind in California, and we'll never catch up given the way that it's regulated. Do you see effect on prices in Texas?
Well, we already have. We're only about 300,000 units behind here. Okay. So, and that's why we're pulling out all the stops to try to catch up with that. Look, you've got to have housing affordability. You got to put people in homes. They got to stay in their homes. You got to let everybody over 65 or disabled, stay in their homes at that point. So that's why this combination for us of tax rate reduction and property tax exemption increases work. But all these other bills, just one thing in mind: more supply. And you got to get government, the HE double hockey sticks, out of the way, because they don't understand that. And you got people that are no growth, or you got blueberries even in a sea of red, like Texas, that think somehow growth is horrible.
What's the next big city in Texas?
What do you mean? It's
going to just go boom.
Okay. Dallas is close.
Well, that's already boomed.
Yeah, that's boomed. Austin went boom.
Yep.
They tried to raise their tax rates 20% in 1 year. And even there, Hugh, on one of my bills, they had to take to the public, and they lost their butt 63-37, because even in the most liberal, progressive city in Texas, people just can't handle a 20% increase. They just said no.
Thank God for some common sense. Senator Betancourt, thank you for sticking around, because housing is one market. It's one national market. Every unit helps every other unit. If we want to cure affordability, we've got to build more houses and apartments. It's that simple. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everybody who helped me out here. And Alec, Lisa, and Jonathan, thank you.
It's the hugest.
I'll be back next year, wherever we are, at the next ALEC convention. Thank you.